We are live. Hello, hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy joy, joy. Happy joy, joy. Oh, my goodness. Hello, Nona. And welcome to being the first person here. So happy to see you. So glad you were able to rearrange some things to be here today. That's awesome. Hi, Margie. So glad you're here as well. Hi, Laura. Laura's not really here. She's just kind of sort of here. We know she's working. That's okay. We appreciate any part of her we can get. Hi, Julie. Happy Monday. Let's see. Down here, she's debugging computers. Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
They expect us to be late.
Oh, you expected us to be late? What were we late? No, it's 12 o'clock straight up according to my watch.
Late enough for me to make a cup of tea.
Oh, well, go make it, Julie. Go make it fast if you're gonna. Not that we're gonna wait. We're gonna get going. But yeah, go make it. Make yourself comfortable. Enjoy, relax, and enjoy. Okay, so we're gonna do 3 things today. That's why we're gonna get going, because we're hoping to get through all 3 things, and they are related but not the same. And I didn't make any samples of the second one. We'll do that as we go. Okay, so the first one that we're going to make is these mini works of art. Let me see if we can show you these up close a little bit. These are little mini works of art made out of scraps that could be, they're 2.5 inches square, could be used, by themselves. They could be used on a tag. They make great little corner tucks on a larger tag, so you could tuck something in, corner tucks in books, or just tuck spots. You could turn them into paper clips. Lots of things you can do with those. So that's the end result of that. Let me stick that right there. And here's what the base looks like. And this is what we're going to make. So what we're going to start with is, you've all got your scraps. We need, if you've got some solid color cardstock in your scraps, yeah, I'll use that as the back. That's solid. If you've got some solid color cardstock in your scraps, or one side is solid color, and it doesn't have to be, but it's just a good way to use that solid color, because sometimes when you grab scraps, you want some design on it, some color or something. So we're going to cut these little pieces to 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. I'm bringing candy back here. There we go. So these are all from scraps. I just cut them to 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. And what have I got here? I've got 7. Okay, that might be enough. That might be enough. If we run out, I can make some more. All right. And then we're going to, so I know Nona's working along with us. Who else is working along? Julie, this is one that you don't have to think about and plan ahead of time. You can just do it along with us. It's not a, see how it works out and then decide how you want to do it. Very easy. So Julie, grab your scraps and do it along with us. Yeah. We were just singing the Craft Pants song, Laura. My stuck pants, because I was sticking needles in my pants accidentally. I got my stuck pants on. Yeah. These are inspired by Melina, Crafty Me. And this is a great place to use gel prints that you don't want to use somewhere else, or that you don't like, but maybe, you just don't want to throw them away, or any other scraps. I've got some that are already torn up from the samples that I made. But here's what we do. We take our scraps and we're going to tear them into strips. And they don't have to be perfect strips. So like this, and strips that are about 3/4 to an inch, 3/4 of an inch to an inch. Doesn't matter if they have the white edge, just doesn't matter. So grab some of your scraps and tear them up And they're going to go on those little squares. So they just need to be at least 2.5 inches long. So if it's 3 inches, like this one's probably only maybe 4 inches. So 3 or 4 inches long is fine. And just tear them up into strips. And we need a variety. We need a whole variety of colors. And you'll see why we don't worry about them being, this one's too small. I'm just going to set it off to the side because that will come with the second thing that we do. You'll see why we need a whole variety. I like the edge on some of these too, so that's fine. Why we need a variety of color and why we don't worry about whether they're torn straight. Well, these are thicker cardstock, so they're actually tearing straight. My others are torn so long. They have like skinny parts and fat parts and like this. It doesn't matter. It'll work. They all work. And in the end, I liked them better when they weren't exactly cut straight. So yes, Julie, I think you should try. I think you will like this one with your scraps. And you will actually, it's not doing anything blind, so you'll actually get to make decisions of what you like as you go. And I do think that you will enjoy this one with your scraps. So that would be great. So we don't get too far ahead. I'm just tearing a whole bunch here, just giving you time to cut some, just cut you maybe, 5 or 6 2.5 by 2.5 squares. I need to get a variety of colors here, so I'm going to add some yellow.
Sylvia snuck in.
Hey, Sylvia. Happy Monday. Sylvia, are you going to be able to make some works of art with scraps with us? I know you've got a lot of things going on right now. What we need is some scrap bases that are 2.5 by 2.5. So I've got 6 or 7 of those, and then we'll take other scraps and just tear them into strips. And they can be paper or cardstock. Like this one is paper. The cardstock ones tear neater. The paper ones don't. And it doesn't matter. Again, I like it when they're thicker on one side and thinner, or not one side, thicker in one area, thinner on the other. It doesn't matter if they don't really tear straight. So don't even worry about that. Just get a variety of colors. That one's pretty thick, but that's okay. Here's some bright blue from a gel print. Get a few of those. I'm going to have enough to do a whole Laugh and Craft and just finish these later. Okay, and here is, okay. Another gel print that needs to be used. Doesn't look like anything on its own, but up against another print, it will look great. I don't know if that's long enough. 1, 2, 3. It is long enough. Yay, because I like that one. Okay.
Do together if they're not.
Oh, that's true. You could to make them long enough. All right. Here's. Whoops. Didn't mean to tear 2 at the same time. Get that off here. That doesn't have. There we go. Get some over here of this purple. Get the edge off. That's kind of fat. About 3/4 of an inch to an inch. Seems to be about the perfect width. Alrighty. And I have some of that desire right here, so I would like to use some of that. Let's see. Get 2 going this way. And don't worry if there's, stuff cut out of them like this, or if there's a straight edge like this, that will actually come in handy. So, and then we go this way, so it'll be long enough. I can probably get, oops. I may be pushing it to get one more in there, but I'm going to try. Okay, I'm going to set these aside because these will come in handy for our second item. All these little tiny bits will come in handy for our second item. By the time we're done today, whatever's left, you'll probably be comfortable just throwing away. I'm not going to use all the strips I have, obviously. And so I will save the strips and sit down and work on more of these. But what I mean by whatever's left is the scraps that you're actually using. By the time you use them and get down to any little bitty, this is the harder stuff to tear, just this like copy paper. It's never straight, and it totally doesn't matter if it's straight or not. By the time we finish these and you have maybe itty bitty pieces for after using the scraps of the scraps, you'll probably be comfortable just tossing that. My thing is either I use it for something constructive, something that, I can make something out of, or let's just move it on and make room for new scraps, because I'm getting tired of having 5 bins of scraps, which is taking up space for all the new stuff that I want. The Minte paper is on the way. The new Minte paper. And yeah, I want some room for that. So let's bust some scraps. That might be cool. That's a book page. Okay, so that should be sufficient scraps. Oh, and even solid color. This purple I used a couple of times and it looks really cool. So some solid color scrapbook paper or cardstock, either way, works really nicely. All right, so now we're going to lay out the scraps in an organized fashion. No, yeah, you can kind of put your strips together by, how you, or if you laid them down while you tore them. I just put them all in one great big giant pile. They get all curly on me. That's totally okay. So I'm just kind of organizing them by the paper that they were torn off of quickly.
Organize your strips?
I was going to say, not really organizing, just kind of grouping so that I can see. Because Julie, where you, this is where you'll find that it's easy for you to do because you've organized them or just grouped them by the paper that they came off of. And so you can pick and choose which paper you want. And let's see, I'm running out of space already. These, I didn't tear this one, and I really want to use this one. So more than one. I really like this one. Oh, I'm going to tear the dragonfly in half.
I tore a bird like in quarters.
Poor birdie.
And thirds, because his beak's on one, his head's on one, his tail's on the other.
Dragonfly just went into thirds. Oh, well. Okay. So now what we're going to do is lay out our 2 by 2, 2.5 by 2.5. And, these could be 3 by 3. 2 by 2, they would be twinchies. That's maybe a little small. 3 by 3s, I think, would work really nicely. 4 by 4 might be getting a little big because you could turn these into clusters and to be little corner tucks on tags and things. It's just a really good size. So we're going to start by 10, and I'm going to have to try to ignore what's on this paper because I'm covering it up. I just want the plain color, the solid color, to be the back in case I decide to use it as a dangle or something. And the back shows. I don't want this on the back, so I'm going to cover that up. So now I'm just going to grab a piece of torn strip to start. So I'm going to grab this. Okay. And I'm just going to lay it here. I don't know where I might get some pink and then some of the blue there. And then you can look at these strips that you've torn and see what you like to go with it. Maybe I like that to go with it. And then what else? And so if you tear them into 3/4 to 1 inch strips, then you should basically end up with three pieces to cover this piece of cardstock. And you can see why it is even helpful to have fat parts and skinny parts as it tears, because it covers up. Where are these? It can cover up over each other. So you can see that they're not even. And it gives it much more artistic value when they're not even. They're not just straight tears. But if this one is torn really thin in here, the next one needs to be a little large to go over it, a little fat on that area. So it is helpful when they're not. And that's why I'll move these around and go, okay, so if that is down there, and then this one can go over like that, and then that, I need this larger end, thicker end down here to cover that like that. Okay, so, and don't get too hung up on what they look like together, because they're going to be completely altered. All you want is colors that are somewhat coordinating, somewhat coordinating. That's literally it. They are going to be altered. So if you go about making that the perfect thing that you want to look at, then you get hung up when it comes time to alter it because you don't want to put anything over it. All right. And I just put the glue straight down on my square. And then I just want to make sure the entire square is covered there. All right. And I know I'm going to overlap it a bit, so I'm going to put a little glue on top of that. And to get the rest of the square glued, as well as my mat. I always do that, whether I mean to or not. Okay, and I'm going to put that one right there. And then this one right here. Okay, so I've got a pretty loud color, this blue, and then the pink and blue goes with it. And then this one is pretty soft and muted. And that's what you want. Probably not the whole thing loud. And then I'm just going to set that aside a minute to dry before I cut it off. So I'll set that aside and I'll do the next one. And what do I want to grab on this one? I love this. Do you see this? This scrap had an edge cut off of it. So I want to make sure that that goes on top of something. And it actually might be really cool over the top of that. So if I put that on an edge, see the edges of the page are perfect. They can just go on the edge of the page right there. And then that one can go over the top of it. And what could go with it? Oh, maybe some of this vintage page here. Something with some picture on it because nothing else has any. Okay, perfect. We'll do that. I could even turn that around. Let's see if it still works size-wise. There we go. Okay. Let me catch up on comments while we're... Margie would cut the strips. She's not fond of torn paper. I get that, Margie, and you could do it with cut strips. I just like the background, the artistic value of them not being exactly the same. In the end, the torn parts are all covered up. So don't worry about that. Those of you who are tearing, in the end, that, if there's white areas there, that all gets covered up. But I like the where they overlap and they're not exactly the same. Each color strip is not exactly the same size. That's what I like. But you could cut them. You could cut them with a deckled edge. You could rip them with a tear ruler. Do what you want. Absolutely do it how you like it. That's why you get one idea and 10 people, and everybody's going to do it a little bit differently. And I think that's awesome. Okay, there's another one. Don't look like a whole lot yet. They don't need to. It's okay. Okay, let's grab this one. How about some of this paper from Desire? Would be really cool on here. And I don't know. Look, how would that look with it? Maybe okay. No, too busy. Too busy for my taste. So want something a little bit, let's see. Ooh, I want to use some of those too. Oh, maybe I need another one of these. There we go. And a third on the other side. Maybe that is one of these Tim Holtz papers. Oh, the other side of the Desire. That's the other thing, is when you tear these strips, remember that if they're double-sided, the other side is always coordinating. So you don't have to figure out what coordinates. You've got something that automatically coordinates. So let's see if that's wide enough. If I need to, I'll bring this down to a wider section. There we go. No, that one needs to be a little wider here. Here's a wider one. And it doesn't matter which one's overlapping which. If you like them all overlapping in the same direction, if you like the middle one underneath and both of the others overlapping, however, doesn't matter. Okay, that'll work. That'll work. I did have some of these squares already measured and cut, Julie. If you grab your paper trimmer and just cut you 2 or 3, because we're going to go on and make 2 other things, hopefully. And if we get them all done and there's still time, we'll just come back and work on any one of them that you want to. But just cut 2 or 3 so you can get the idea of doing it. And then we'll go to the other things. You don't need to have a whole bunch. I've got a ton of scraps here, or strips torn. So I know I'm going to be cutting more squares later and making more of them for sure. Oh, I kind of want to put that underneath. I think I'll just stick it under there. Yeah, I would normally just cut them right here with you, but I thought if we're going to get to the second and third thing, then we need to have a little bit of prep. But it's okay if you're a step or 2 behind, because then you can always see what's coming. And Nona, hi Angie. Nona had requested specifically clusters. These can be used as clusters, but we are also going to make 2 different kinds of clusters as our second and third project today. So, okay, let's see here. Let me do one more. How about that one? And how about one of these yellow? That's pretty. The yellow strip. And that one. Ooh, that'll look really cool. Alrighty. And you might start out picking scraps that, if you just want to make a few, start out picking a couple of scraps that you like, the colors together. Don't worry about the design or the pattern, just the color. As long as you like the colors together, it will work. And then you could just tear up a bunch of strips with those and make a handful of them that are all coordinating. Or you could sit down and tear yourself a whole little container full of strips. And so anytime you could sit down and cut yourself a whole bunch of 2.5 by 2.5s. So anytime you want to, you could grab your 2.5s and your little strip. I have a strip bucket. They're not torn like this. It's just any offcuts that are in strip shape. So that's a good one for me to go to because they're already in strip shape, so then I can just tear them into strips further. Okay, so I'm going to take these 4 that I've put together right here. I'm going to gather the rest of these strips. Now I want to sit down and just put strips on. It's for me, it's kind of like collaging. It's relaxing to just sit down and glue these strips onto 2.5s because there's really not any thinking involved. It's very relaxing. I could get lost doing that for a while. Okay, but I'm going to take all of these. If we have time, I will come back and do some more of those. Let's see if I can just get them all over here together. All right. So, Julie, are you doing it along with us? Did you cut you a couple of squares? Let me go back here. Margie cuts, Laura tears. Everyone tears. Margie likes to be different. Sylvia just dropped a call from Hawaii to tear paper. I do love using up, and solid colors work great on these. Oh, I didn't get one with the purple, but you can see that on these samples that I did, I have solid colors in there. I used that purple solid color. In the end, you can't tell that it's a solid color, but I did use solid colors in those. So solid colors are fine as well. Minte is on the way. Yep. Chaos and destruction. Okay, Julie's looking for her scraps and tearing up some strips. A completely scrappy journal, Laura. Yes. Yeah, Laura, you can make focal points out of scraps. Absolutely. If you make these completely out of scraps, they could be focal points, and they are scraps. So that could be considered scrappy journal. Every single thing. Ooh, that's a good challenge, Candy. Make a journal, every single thing except maybe the pages, made from scraps.
Oh, no. That would take me forever.
But that does sound kind of fun and challenging. Yeah. Okay, so I just cut those off, and look how cool it looks already. And we haven't even done anything to it yet. A scrappy journal. I like that, Laura. Using only things from the scrap bin. Yeah, well, if you take all these from the scrap bin and cut the 2.5 by 2.5 from a piece of paper from the scrap bin. I mean, some of these were torn, and I just cut a 2.5 square out of the torn piece that was left, or cut off, an offcut from a larger piece, larger project. All right, so I'm just trimming these up from the back so I can see them. And I'll keep any scraps that are usable. I'll even keep something this size for today, because we'll use those for our second project. And these little tiny shavings I will throw away. All right, so there's 2. And I'll move these over here. Of course, every time I try, the flowers start calling me. Laura, you can also make flowers out of scraps. And
flower making.
Definitely make flowers out of scraps. And you can make clusters that look like flowers. And making scrap clusters would be great focal points Okay, so Nona's got the first 2 squares done. Cool. Let me cut this 4th one and we'll be ready to move on. All right. So now we have, Nona, do you have any distress oxide? Any distress oxide? If not, if you have even any distress ink, grab that. A vintage photo or rusty hinge. I've used walnut stain, tea dye. What did I use the other day? Mustard, or what's the other? Not honey. There's another kind of yellowy one that I used that turned out great. Can't think of what it was called though. Okay, so there's my 4. Hey Dawn, good to see you. Julie's putting some strips together. Okay, so they're 2.5 by 2.5 squares out of your scraps, and then we just tore scraps into strips. You know, you get offcuts. You have a 12 by 12 piece of paper, and you might have a 2-inch offcut. You know, not necessarily a scrap. That's why you keep it. But it is a scrap because it's not a big piece of paper that's ready to use. I'm just checking to make sure everything got glued down. Sometimes I need to go back and get corners or edges. Just as well do that now. Okay. I like to use a corner rounder on them. So if you want to do a corner rounder, now is a good time to do that. Sometimes I didn't remember that here and I did them later anyway. So let's see. Oh, Dawn, so sorry you're not feeling well, but glad you're going to watch. Okay, so now we glued them on like that, and I've got 4 right here. So I'm going to round the corners, and you can round the corners later, but if I do it now, then I know it's done, and I don't have to remember to go back and see if those corners need to be inked. And you can see that by the scraps that I've chosen here, the strips, these are 4 absolutely, completely different from one another. You know, you can get just completely different looks, different colors, and even different styles. Okay, so there they are. I think they're cool looking like that. I could make those up kind of like ATCs, just ready to go to use as little art backdrops down the road when you're putting a book together. All right, so we've got corners. Let me catch up on comments here. Color of the squares doesn't matter, Julie, because we're covering them. So don't worry about the color of the squares. In fact, I made some that I didn't like the color of the back with it, and I thought I might want to use it as a dangle. I just glued coffee dyed paper on it and then cut it out. So don't even worry. Don't even worry. Yep, wonky scraps. Exactly. Let's see. Okay, gathered twigs is good. Yes. Yes, we all sound like snakes, scraps, and strips. And do we sound like snakes, Candy?
No.
Today's tutorial brought to you by the letter S. Okay, so now the next thing that we are going to do after we glue those down is to take some oxide. I'm going to use rusty hinge and an acrylic block or your glass mat or a piece of plastic nearby, a plastic lid, you know, anything will work. It's water-based. It'll wash off really easily. So don't worry about it destroying anything because we're doing a lot of things. I won't do it on my mat. I normally just do it up on the corner of my glass mat, but just take your oxide and put some on the acrylic block like that. And then I'm going to spritz it a little bit with water to make it liquidy and runny. And then I'm going to take these and just kind of dip them here and there Rusty hinge. Let it drip. Let it run. I've got a little piece of white tear off the tear strip. I'm just going to make sure I get that little white spot in there and it gets some rusty hinge on it. Okay. So I just dipped it a little bit, let it run. I don't want to do it too much because I don't want to take it forever to dry. So just a little bit on it and set it aside. And I already did those. I'm going to grab these. Now don't worry that pink and rusty hinge is not going to go together because this just, as it dries and put together with everything else, it just looks aged and old, vintaged. So, but if you wanted to, you could use vintage photo. I've used whatever's handy. I've used vintage photo, walnut stain, rusty hinge. See, that ends up looking really cool. If it stays kind of orangey, the orange and the pink looks really awesome together. Okay, take the next one. There's a little white corner right there. So there we go. Got it. Okay. And where's the last one? Those are not done. There it is, right in front of me. Again, with the red and orange, don't worry about the orange not going with the red. Trust the process. It will. It doesn't matter what color you use on these. They always end up looking great. Okay. So that's about all I'm going to put on there. I don't want to, again, I don't want to take them to take forever to dry. So normally I would assembly line these. And so I would be doing a whole bunch. And so by the time I finish dipping them all, the first one's dried. I can see a little bit that's not quite dried on that one. The second one's pretty good though. So we'll go with the second one first. And that one's pretty good other than those two spots right there. We'll just help that along. And yeah, they really don't take too long to dry there. So now I'm going to ink the edge. I do like having the edge inked, either vintage photo, walnut stain, gathered twigs, whatever you like to use. And this is where if you've got a little bit of that torn white that doesn't have ink on it, you can just make sure you cover it with this. Do these first two and let the last two dry just a bit more. You could even, based on the colors that you choose, you could choose different colors of oxide or distress ink to ink the edges with. That makes for really pretty. Like this one might have been really pretty done in blue or some of the shades of pink. So if you know what project you're going to use it in, I'm going to let those two continue to dry a bit before we ink them. Let's see here. Let's see. What are you using now? I zoned out. Okay, Julie, I took Distress Oxide. I used Rusty Hinge. I've also used Walnut Stain. I've used Vintage Photo. Gathered Twigs is good. I've used a lot of different ones. And just squish some on your acrylic plate, spray it with a little bit of water, and then just dip them into it to give them a little stain. Irregular, and it's irregular is good. Okay, so we've done that, and we've rounded the corners, and we've put the oxide on them, and then we inked around them. I used walnut stain. Use whatever you want to ink around them. And now you can do it from here. You can really do anything you want, but you might maybe you want to take a little bit of mousse or one of these. Let's see. I'll take this one. One of these types of things, and just do a little bit of this on the edge or somewhere in the middle to get that little bit of mousse shine. Moonshine. A little bit of mousse shine Sometimes that's fun around the edge. You get a little bit of that glimmer of, I want to put a little bit up just right over the top right there. Some of that's going to get covered anyway. Okay, so you could do some of that. It's got a big old strip down here. Maybe this needs some too, right down here. A little bit of shine for that mousse too. All right, so you can do that on any or all of them if you want. And let's see, get a baby wipe out. Or 3, whatever you'd like to give me. These baby wipe holders are so finicky. Sometimes they give me 1, sometimes they give me 3.
Sometimes they rip.
Yes. And you get a little tiny strip.
I'm trying to change Charlie and he's pooped.
That's helpful. Okay, and then where did I put my stamp? Then the next thing we're going to do is stamp a little bit. I'm going to move these just for a minute. We're going to stamp a little bit, but not over the whole thing. Seriously, my stamp was just here. Where did I put my stamp? Oh, it's right here. Any stamp. I do like a script stamp. And this one's handy. It's giant. And it's got some script down here. So I'm going to just take this walnut stain and get some of that script on it. Get some of the walnut stain on the script. And then you don't really want to stamp the whole thing. Like this one is already, it looks like it's stamped because that was on the paper. I might put a little on the center strip, but if you look at these and you can hardly see them, see this one didn't have much on it. It was really light. So I put a little bit of script stamp there. This one got a little bit right down here and it ends up looking like it's part of the paper. You can see a couple of spots right there. A couple spots on the center one right here. And on the right there. So basically just give it a little stamp wherever you think it needs it. So let's see. We already got some. Hopefully that's still there. This one kind of needs it in the center. There's really not much going on there. So give it a little bit of there. Maybe even up farther on the pink. And a little bit down there. So just a tiny little bit of background stamp. It adds to the layering and the dimension, and it doesn't look so flat. So let's see. That was metallic paint on that paper, and it doesn't go on the metallic paint quite as easily. So I'll put some on the center one there. That works. It's just enough to see it's there. Okay. This one, maybe I'll put a little bit on the yellow part. Doesn't even have to be straight. There we go. Like that. And let's see. I've got some real buffering here on my TV. Let me see if I can get it caught up. Catch up, YouTube. Catch up. Come on.
Yeah, mine's doing it too. I think YouTube. I thought it was just me.
No, I can see that it's mine. Yours are looking really cool. I love your color combination.
Thank you.
Especially, did you use Rusty Hinge?
What?
Did you use Rusty Hinge?
I use Hinge. I use ground espresso.
I love how the Rusty Hinge looks with
and wild honey.
You could even take, like one of these little specimen stamps and use that. I did that on some of them yesterday when I was making the samples. Okay, so now we've got those 3. 4. Those are all done. Okay, so I didn't get the edges on these because they were still drying, but they're dried now. See if you don't totally saturate them. They really don't take very long to dry. Okay. Get the edges. It just takes off any the card that's underneath it. You know, if it has a white center or if there's any white on the strips that you tore, it just gives it that tiny little bit of framing that doesn't seem like any big deal, but does make a difference. So, okay. So we got stamping on all of them. You could put some mousse on them if you want. Then what Melina did that I really like, this is something that Candy and I do a lot on our scraps when we jazz them up. We put sprinkles or splatters of black, white, and gold. And so I grabbed a gold paint, not a paint. It's a spray. It's just one of the Stamperia sprays. So any brand doesn't matter. I grabbed this one because I've been using it over there in the mixed media, exactly doing that. And so I know it's easy to use. And let's see how big of a mess I can make right here. All I'm going to do is take the thing out and see if I can splatter a few splatters. See, this is where it's helpful to have a dozen of them at the same time, because when I lay them out, it hits one of them. When I do this splatter, it hits one of them for sure every time. You see all the little splatters on my mat? That's where others would be laying. And I don't want a ton. I'm not getting a whole lot because I'm hitting my mat, my glass mat, instead of these. But I do want a few splatters here and there. It looks really cool. This pink looks great with the gold splatters and the blue. They all do. Gold jazzes anything up. Looks great. You could use a splatter brush if you wanted to. Yeah, and again, that's easier if you're mass making and you put a bunch of them out so that you can splatter and be hitting one somewhere with every splatter instead of all over your mat. I love how these mats clean up. My goodness. Look at that. One swipe through and all that splatter is off. I absolutely love these mats. They appear to be just like all the other glass mats, but even glue and adhesive that sat there for a bit, I come back with a baby wipe and it just starts to roll up and come off. It's so cool. Don't you love it, Candy?
Yes.
I didn't think there'd be any difference. I didn't know that there could be any difference, but I really like it. Sylvia, have you had a chance to use yours? Runs for gold paint and slathers it all over my body because it makes everything look good. Oh, that's awesome. Sylvia just got a dryer like yours, Candy. She'll take it on its maiden voyage today.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
It's not too loud.
Keep going, Julie. Keep going. Sylvia says, imagine putting a symbol right in the middle, like an ampersand or a nice scripted letter or a number or a heart, or writing a phrase in black ink or a butterfly. Yes, Sylvia, exactly. That's exactly what you're going to do. Okay, so if you want to keep it really simple, then all you do is add one small embellishment and a word or a phrase. So I've got these that were sticky or are sticky, and they're stuck to this baggie that I stuck them in, that I am going to find 4 that I'm going to use here. Never give up. Dreamer of dreams. Love that. Heart and soul. I like that. And what else can I grab here? Chase your passion. There we go. So I've got 4 of those. And then you're just going to grab a little embellishment. Let me show you these again. This one has a button. And I only put a gold button, because this butterfly was a perfect embellishment on the paper. This one is just torn off of a paper, which I have right here. These are printed out, and so I just tore out 3 letters. It was the perfect size. This is a tiny embellishment from a little Tim Holtz pack that I have sitting here. I think this tiny little cut out flower and a scrap piece of lace that was sitting around. So literally like that, just stuck under the edge. It was also from that tiny ephemera pack. There was a little scrap piece of lace, and I just stuck the butterfly on top of it. So just grab an ampersand. Yes, I love that idea. Those signs in the middle, an ampersand. I pulled out these numbers. I thought a number would be great. I've had this sitting here forever and never used it, and that's why I pulled it out with the others. This is the little Tim Holtz pack of ephemera, and it's been sitting on my desk forever, and I never use it. I hardly ever go to these packaged ones. We make our own kind of stuff, but there are some cute little things in here. Like this, 45 cents. Wouldn't that be cute? That would be cute right there on that one because of the red. Oh, here's a teeny tiny postcard. How cute is that? That might go with one of those sayings really well. Okay, I'll set those aside and we'll grab something else. I've got, you see, just rounds. There's buttons that we've made. There's circles. I've got these little plastic numbers and signs, symbols. There's little tickets and things that we've cut out. I don't have a Christmas one. Teeny tiny tags. Here's another one, apothecary numbers. These are 7 gypsies. Let me pull that one out, because that's another really good. I mean, literally anything, a butterfly, anything. You can add a piece of lace or don't add a piece of lace. Doesn't even matter. So, okay. So let's see. Then I'm going to just take these and I'm going to see where they might go. I do think that this is cute here because it's got the dark border and the red numbers, which would be perfect with all the red in this. But I'm going to put it up here kind of away from the red. Okay. And then this little postcard's cute. I don't know if I want to use it. It's adorable. It's kind of getting lost, though, so I wonder if it needs something behind it. Let's check out these numbers and see if we have a lucky 31. I'm not really liking the color around the outside because it's blending in too much. But I do have, let's see, you can also grab some other scraps off your desk to see if they need to go. I've got these teeny tiny balloons. Ooh, what about a tiny balloon on here? And then maybe I'll come back with some Nuvo over the balloon with Chase Your Passion. Or Dreamer of Dreams. That might be cute. I think there was some numbers of a different color too. I might have only grabbed these. I do like these though. So I'm going to grab another 3 of these. And I love the wonky tear that they came out with. I didn't cut them on purpose. I did really like the way they tore all wonky. Okay. And then I'm going to give a little bit of walnut stain or vintage photo, whatever's on this, on that, to take the bright white down a little bit. And let's see here. Let me catch up on.
Uh-oh, Nona has to go.
Oh, Nona. You can watch the rest of it later to get the 2 clusters. Definitely. Okay. Name your dog Passion and you'll always be chasing it around. Ha! Or your cat. Let your cupcake sleep. A coffee cup. Coffee cup would be super cute too. Yeah, it's a good way to get rid of stickers that you would never use. Maybe you don't ever use a big sticker of whatever, not a big sticker, a little sticker of some image, and you're just going to put it down all by itself. That's a perfect way to use it. I think I'm going to see if I can edge this pink balloon in black. I don't know if it'll work. It's foam. Because the pink was just kind of blending in. I'm going to do the whole string. Yeah, I'm going to have to come back over it maybe with some Nuvo drops. Yeah, no, not liking that at all. Oh, you know what I do like? I do like this. I do like this a lot. Maybe just 3 of those. Oh, look, there's a tiny hand that fell out of the ephemera pack. I don't ever use hands when I'm making stuff, so this would be a good place to use those pointy finger hands. Okay, so are these? I don't think these are stickers, so we need to glue it down. I'm going to glue this guy down. Nona, you have a great afternoon. And do come back and watch the next 2 clusters that are specially for you. Okay, I like this one on this one. So let's glue these old typewriter keys down on this one. But do I want it over here? Or do I want it over here? I think over here. I wanted it over there. I wanted to want it over there, but it just didn't look right. But I will put some words on there. Okay, so 2 of them have a tiny little focal point. Now these 2 need one. What about this tiny little piece of gold sequined fabric? I cut that off. Let's see. Could put it right there. And put that right over the top of it. I mean, it's just, there really just doesn't have to be a ton of thought to it. Just give it a focal point and then pick a word or phrase that matters to you or that you like. They don't have to go together. They don't have to mean something specifically. I just like all these phrases. And glue them down. Each one stands on its own. Definitely each one stands on its own. And if you wanted to go back later and do more to it, you always could. But I also love the idea of mass making a bunch of these and having them ready to go as bases. You could use as clusters or as tuck spots and then just add stuff on them when you're ready to go. So there's Dreamer of Dreams with a little bit of gold sequins. Is it possible to remove the comment on the screen? Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, totally didn't even see that still there. Oh, thank you, Dawn. Margie, you let that slip and didn't tell me. Let me go back and find. There it is. Sorry about that. Yeah, that becomes a little difficult to see. Yes, remove my comment, please, Julie says. We love you, Julie, but okay, so Julie, how are you doing? Where are you at? I'm gonna do Chase Your Passion on this one. Do I want to cut it? I think I do. You can always cut them up however you want them. And let's go Chase Your Passion. There we go. And maybe I'll hit the edges with a little bit of gold mousse later. I don't know. We'll let it dry and see. But for now, it's a perfect little piece of art. Margie saw it and purposely ignored it. She usually reminds me, take the comment off the screen. Okay, let's see here. Julie, let's see. Okay, so Julie's got her strips down. Perfect, Julie. Have you done the ink on them? Oh, those are beautiful. Beautiful, Julie. Beautiful strips.
Yeah, beautiful, Julie.
Okay, so yeah, instead of dragging them or dipping them in the ink, you could always just grab some spray, like a Tattered Angels, and give them one spray over each one of them. That would just give them a little bit of, then tilt them and let it run a bit. And you see, you don't end up seeing that rusty hinge ink. It just kind of melts in, but it does give it a kind of an aged, older look. And then the splatters of gold are nice. Like somebody splattered their paint. Okay. All right. We've got one more heart and soul maybe over here. Never give up. How about never give up? I think I'm even going to cut those two apart.
I know I have tiny scraps. You think I can find any right now?
Of course not. Never give up. Never give up, Candy.
Well, I'm giving up finding tiny scraps.
Never give up. Going right there. Okay. Perfect.
Too big.
Okay. And the last one over here. I'm not sure that this postcard goes with that in a way that I like. Let's see what else is in here. That's kind of cute. It's a vintage picture. We could edge it, ink it on the edge. Or a little ticket. A ticket would go with heart and soul. That would be nice. Let's just do that. And you can put as many on as you want, but you really only need one to make your piece of art. All right. So some of these we're splitting a little bit when they were just peeling one of the layers of cardboard off of them.
Oh, I found a spider. How about that?
You found what?
A spider sticker.
Ooh, that would work. That'd be a cool Halloween one. You have a word that you could use with Halloween?
Not hardly.
Boo. Wow.
Guess I got to write it in there because I sure don't.
What about one of your snarky comments?
Too big.
Okay, there we go. Heart and soul. I have a an art journal that I'm trying to decide how I want to do the cover. I want the cover to say art and soul. I haven't decided how I want to do that on there yet. Sylvia made a spider for her journal. Let's see. Okay, so Julie, decorating is the thing she struggles with, and that's why this is better, because it's simple. Instead of thinking about how to decorate it, all you're going to do is pick out, if you've got 4 of them, pick out 4 little pieces of ephemera that you like and put the little piece of ephemera first on to your little canvas. And all you have to do is decide where to place it. I placed it up here because there was a lot of dark color up here, down here. So where it was light, it would be seen a little bit better. Over here, it's that direction. So it just kind of needed to go that direction. So just pick your pieces of ephemera and set them on your card. You don't have to glue them down yet. Just set them. And then pick 4 words or phrases and put 1 by each. Without having to, let's see, I like the one with the gold. This one here, it does look cool, doesn't it? I wouldn't have thought of that sequin fabric, but yeah, those, I don't know. It must have just been scrap to begin with, but because I haven't used that on anything. But now if I find any more, I want to cut it up into scraps because yeah, that looks really good, especially with the vintage paper. Candy, just right. Come into my parlor. Yeah, Dawn is right, Julie. It doesn't, and you know what? Okay, here's the thing, Julie. If you tell yourself this is a 2.5 by 2.5 inch piece of paper, if I decorate it and I don't like it, I'll throw it away. Once you give yourself permission to throw it away if you don't like it, you take the pressure off, and then when you do it, you will find that you like it. It's that I've got to make it perfect. It's got to look, whatever, that gets our brains all hung up. But really, that's why I broke this down the way I did, because if you don't think about decorating it, we didn't really decorate. Put that aside. We're not decorating today. We're picking 1 piece of ephemera to put on each one, and then we're picking 1 word or phrase to put on each one. That's all you need to do. Oh, cool. Let's see the spider photo from Sylvia. Let's see here. Oh, sweet. Yes, she did make a spider for her journal. I love it. Love it, Sylvia. That's awesome. Is that a paper bag made, or is it a page made into a pocket? That's cool. Yeah, that's right, Margie. If you decide to throw it away, then it's been used and gone. It's not wasted, because great artists don't get great by just picking up their brush or their canvas and the very first time coming out with the thing that you absolutely love. They get great because they do it over and over and over again. What do you think happens with all those first ones that they don't like or make the mistakes or whatever? Either they toss them or they cover them with gesso and start again. If you didn't like it, you could put another piece of paper over it. Seriously, it's just not a huge deal. Don't let your brain run away with you and make it into a bigger deal than it is. Okay, so now you have all these cute little pieces of art that can be used in so many different ways. So that's our first one. All right, we've got less than an hour. We can do the other 2 in less than an hour. That was the most complicated and long one. All right, the second one is clusters. Oh, I had some ready to go here that I just didn't even do. I'm going to have to do them later. The second one is clusters with scraps. Scrap clusters. And these are, I would say, maybe I can use that one. These are inspired by Corey Dahman. And all these little tiny itty bitty pieces are perfect for that. I'm going to bring those back and even grab some of these that I set down on the side that I might just reach down here and grab some more as we go. I don't want to bring them all back, but okay. So these are super, super easy, and they can be sewn. They can be glued. They can be sewn later. You can start them and not finish them until you need them. And this is one of those things that if you like, say you like some paper like this, and you really don't want to throw it away because you really like the paper, but you can't hang on to this. You really, really, trust me, people, make room for the news stamp area. You can't hang on to this. But if you use it for something right now, then you can. So the way to do these clusters is basically taking strips of things. So here's a good one, and it's kind of long. So we'll take a strip like this, and then taking another strip of something that goes with it nicely, and we'll just hold them all together until we get something together that we like. Let's see. I might not so many things to choose from right here, but okay, so maybe I'll do that, and then I'll do that. I don't like that straight edge there. See if I can tear that a bit. But I do like that little lacy bit. So I'm going to put that to the outside so it can be seen better. Okay. And you can rearrange these till you like it. So I like to hold them up to get things together in a way that I like them before gluing them down. Okay, so here's a good little cluster. Now, if I wanted to, I could just take that to the sewing machine. And so I'd probably put a drop of glue or glue stick just to keep them like this, because I can't put my finger in there. And then just sew one little sewing machine line, one strip right down here, would sew them all together, would connect them all. And they look really cool with that sewn strip right down them. But we're not going to go to the sewing machine today. We're going to do everything glue. I've been trying to do that because I know not everybody has a machine or even likes to sew. So first I'm going to, you can glue these together without even taking them out of your fingers, so you don't lose where you had them, where you like them. I'll just glue all the tops. And then I'll turn it around and go to where I ended and glue the bottom down. Oops, let go of that one. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was off out of screen there.
I'm good at that.
Sometimes it's hard to do because you pull it close to you so you can see, or you can see behind the piece of paper, and all of a sudden, yeah, camera's not right up here under my chin. Okay, so there is our start. There's our base. Just putting those scraps together, and then you embellish that kind of just like you did the just did those 2.5 by 2.5s. Maybe I'll put a number on here that's kind of light. Maybe this darker number would look better. Where's the 31? Did I put it back in the lucky 13? I like that. That's my lucky number. Lucky 13. I think I'll put that right in the middle. Is this a sticker? Paper. I think it's paper. And I'm just putting this right over the connection where they all connect and overlap right there. By putting that there, you don't see where anything starts or ends. And it makes it all cohesive. Okay, and then to that we can add a word or some, depending on what it is. This is kind of vintagey, but you could add flat back pearls, or you know what? We could also add, let's see, red, might be too red, but you could take a little piece of twine like this and make you a teeny tiny bow and then glue that bow on. That's always fun to do. Just make a bow and then grab the center and pull it to be as small as you want it to be. So I can put it down here and see. I'd like it a little smaller. Okay, I like that. Which side do I like? I like that. So I don't know. Let me cut it off. I don't know exactly how long I want the tails. I want the tails to be kind of extra long, which gives kind of a wonky look. Teeny tiny bow and long tails, but I don't know exactly how long until I put it on there. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue inside of it just to help hold it together. I just stick this in there, squeeze a little bit, and then squeeze it together so that it won't get pulled apart, you know, the bow undone super easily. All right, and now a little bit of Fabri-Tac right here. A dollop will do ya. A dollop of daisy. And put the little bow down. I'm going to hold it down for just a minute and go check out. Let's see here. Hey, Cuppy just got the zoomies. Oh, that's awesome. Wish you had the energy to do the zoomies. Yes. Oh, man. Body's way past zoomies. It's more in chug-a-lug. Oh, park it. Okay. Julie, we're making clusters with our paper scraps. Okay, so I'm going to cut some of this off and see if that's short enough. Yeah, I like that kind of wonky, kind of long tails. We're making paper clusters, or clusters with paper scraps. So there's the first one. So we'll make another one here. Julie, are you with me? All right, so I'm going to grab a piece of paper, and the first two pieces are usually kind of longer than others. I like the torn edge out, so I'm going to put the the straight edge, that's the edge of the page, on the inside there. I'm going to tear off this flat edge here because I don't want so many flat edges. Okay, so I'm just going to put these two together here. I could put a third. I could put, let's see, I'm working with strips right now, so there aren't any really big pieces, but I could put, you know, say there was a larger piece of paper, I could put it behind all of them. But when you put them all together, they kind of make, you know, a little piece of paper. So if I've got those two, and I'm kind of using some of these same pieces because that's what I've got here. I want something with a little color. That might work right there. I'm going to tear off that white. And yes, throw that little bitty piece away. Okay, so there are a lot of ways to do these, but what I'm giving you is a recipe to make this every single time and make them quickly. So grab two pieces, one longer than the other. In fact, I'm going to tear that one off right there. One longer than the other, and put them together, overlapping them. And then grab another piece of scrap. The fact that they all have different designs doesn't matter. All you want is coordinating colors. That works fine. And put the third piece here. And then we want even a fourth piece of something little tiny, but that goes with it. I like that. It's got some metallic on it. So grab that little tiny piece and put that there at the top. Okay, and that's a basic recipe, Julie, for putting this together. Those 4. So I'm just going to hold it in the center and glue it while I'm holding it. Once I have it where I like the placement, there's no need to take it all apart. I'm just going to stick this down in between them and glue them. I'm gluing the top half, and then I'll turn it around, and now I'm going to glue the bottom half. Just go in between each one, add some glue on it, and it really doesn't matter on these that there's the entire thing is glued. I just put a little glue down the center of it. It's just so that it holds. Okay, there's your basic, what I'm giving you. There's a lot of ways to do them. I'm just giving you a basic recipe. Even a little strip like this looks really cute on these because the paper is really cute.
Go full screen so they can see you.
So you can put a little strip like that. I probably ink the edge just to get that white off. But okay, so I've got the 2 pieces. I'll do it again now that widescreen or big screen so that you can see. I'm going to take 2 pieces of paper. Let me find something else I like. Grab some of these other scraps down here. Here's some Tim Holtz ones that'll be good. Okay, so I want one longer than the other. Okay, not going to worry about this white stuff right here because I'm going to cover it up with this one. So I'm taking 2 strip scraps. These are just stuff we tore off from the previous one. I like them both. They have different patterns, but they coordinate in color. So that's totally fine. And now I'm going to look for another, a shorter one that can go on here. What else have we got? This is a cool one. This one will work. Let me just tear off that white edge. Okay, get something darker on there. I'm going to put this darker one down. And there's a cut edge and a torn edge. So I put the torn edge on the bottom. So the cut edge is on top, because then I'm going to take the last piece, whatever I find, and that's going to cover that cut edge on top. I'm looking for something. This might work right here. Okay. All right. So our first 2 pieces, then I put a third piece on down here. And this is, everybody always asks me give me a followable pattern or recipe to make these. So here I'm giving you just a recipe to follow. So a larger one, a smaller one, both strips, and then put a little strip on top of them. And then I'm getting something small. There's a cut edge. I'm going to put that cut edge down because it's going to end up getting covered. If you like the cut edge, put it up. Okay. And there's 4 little pieces. I'm going to hold those together and I'm just going to glue them. All I have to do is go bend them back, go inside here, put glue on the back of each thing that's overlapping something else. And then I'm going to flip it around and glue the other side. Whoops. That one didn't get inside. It got on the outside. Okay, so it's glued together. And so now we need a little focal point on it. Maybe one of these. A smidge, a pinch, a dash, a peck, itty bitty, 1, 2, 3. How about let's see. Let me see what else is in here too. Oh, I love using these. When I cut out thumb notches, we'll use these next. I keep these from the thumb notches, and this is what I use them for. They're perfect on these clusters. A little flower will work with some of these. There's some tiny focal point birds. Too big. Those flowers are too big. There's a yellow balloon.
Sylvia had to go.
Bye, Sylvia.
Care
Okay. The blue one. We'll talk to you soon, Sylvia. Washi works on these. Here, I've got some washi right here. Let me. So, what if we go?
You know, you ever one of those days where nothing's going right?
Yeah. Are you having one?
Oh my God. If I drop one
I'm
more.
so sorry. 27, 24. And if we put that right there, let's put this tiny little scrap of lace under it right there at an angle. See this dark against dark? I'm not crazy about. So if I put this tiny little scrap of lace underneath it, it adds to the embellishment, but it also breaks up the dark and dark and puts some light in between them. And I want it off to the side wonky. And then I could even tape that down with a tiny piece of washi tape, which I may do when we're done here. But okay, so let me glue down the number and the lace. And then if you need some on the edge of your embellishment, you can always go back and add that. Okay, so there's your base. Now I would edge these with vintage photo or a walnut stain or something as well. Not that. Let's see. I'm liking maybe this teeny tiny thin one. Let's see how that works. Just a tiny little piece of washi as if it's holding them down. And it covers the edge of that lace. I'm just putting it there. If I like it, then I'm going to glue it. Yeah, I do. And I'm going to glue it because washi, it always kind of cracks me up when people say, I don't like washi. It doesn't stay. It doesn't stick. It always comes up. And I want to say that is the exact definition of washi. It is Japanese paper tape that is made to be removable. It is not supposed to stick. It is not supposed to stay. So if you want washi to stay, put some glue on it. Some does stay more than others, but washi was not made to stay. Okay. Okay, so there we go. Maybe it needs a tiny piece of washi up on the top too, because it looks like it's barely got hold of it. These little skinny washis are great for this. There we go. There, now it looks like it's holding the whole number down. And so we've got that one and that one. We need to put something on this one. So I really, the next one I do, I'll use these. I really like using those. Let's see, what do we want to put on this one? There is, I've got some letters and numbers there. Trying to use up things that are sitting around. There's some teeny tiny labels in that pack. I've got some flowers. Let's see if there's any little, there's some words. A word is always good. That word is too big. Then there's some words that are smaller. Mischief. That's a good word for this group. Mischief.
What are you trying to say?
Here we go. Mischief in a jar. But that jar is dark and it kind of just blends in. So it needs something behind it. So an easy thing. Let's see. A cream colored either fabric, lace, or sari. A cream colored sari would be perfect. What am I trying to say? Exactly what I said. Oh, there it is. Okay. Couldn't figure out how it was folded. That end doesn't want to unfold right now, so. Okay. And then I'll ink the word and put the word mischief right there. That would work. Let's cut this and fray it a bit. Whoops. I meant to fray it, not tear it. I think even... I don't have any gold right here beside me. I'd rather use gold, but I think, whoops, got it under my fingernail. A little bit of metallic edging around this jar would be good. Now I got metallic under my fingernail. Okay. All right. Where'd the wipe go? There we go. Okay, let's see. So let me just put down a couple of gobs of Fabri-Tac and stick this sari silk on here. I don't care that it's torn because it's going to be underneath the jar. Not going to see it anyway. Grab the wrong. No, that was the right piece. It's all sticking to me now anyway.
I know. Go wash my hands.
Fabri-Tac!
I'm gonna stick in.
Yeah, Fabri-Tac, anytime you use something that's difficult to stick or fabric, it sticks anything to anything, fabric to anything too. Okay, there's a lot of metallic on that. Needs something dark. Might end up edging that in black. Let's see. Oh, that's black. I didn't mean to do that though. Meant to give that. We watched over the weekend. What did we see? Oh goodness, Hocus Pocus 2.
Good. I heard it was really good.
Yeah, it is. It was.
I haven't seen the first one in so long. I have to go back and watch the first one.
Yeah. The first one, it's good. Kind of they're. I mean, it isn't like a continuation, but yet it is. You know, first one puts it all in perspective, or lets you at least know the background.
Yeah, I can remember parts of it. It's been forever though.
Yeah, I don't remember all the details of the first one either, and it really wasn't
At all
necessary. I mean, you remember the characters, and they kind of tell you, you know, the important stuff anyway. So if people haven't ever seen it, they would still know. Okay. Oh, there's a good Halloween one. Put a spider on that jar. Okay. All right. So there's a paper cluster. I'm going to move on to the third thing. So these are paper clusters with your scraps. So if you make your little 2.5 by 2.5, and then you end up with a bunch of little scraps, you can grab the ones you like, make some paper clusters like this, and then when you're done, just throw all the rest away. Okay. But you can have a whole pile of these that are just ready to go into, onto tags, into books, on pockets, to decorate anything. Okay, so let me make sure I've got tops back on all of les glues. Oh, I was going to do one with that. What I do with these is just stick them underneath something. And so you don't see that cut edge but you see the rounded edge coming out. So as like that third piece of paper in there, I use these little cutoffs from the circles, thumb notches a lot. And sometimes something like this, the only reason I kept this is until we finish this, because sometimes something like that just stuck underneath the edge of something gives that pop of color, and it looks like there's a whole piece of that underneath, and you don't need a whole piece of it underneath. You only need a tiny bit coming out of the edge. Same thing with the lace. But again, when we're done, those are going to the trash. I don't want to keep those teeny tiny little things, even though I can use them. But every single time I create something, I'm going to make more of those. So I'm not worried about not having enough of those. All right, what happened to the pin? Pin. It was just right here. It's not in there. It's not under there. Anybody see the pin?
Don't ask me. I can't even find it.
I'll pick these things up and move them out. I better look on the floor.
I was going to say the floor.
It's usually
just stuck your pants.
No, well, unless it's on the way to the floor. I usually find it on the floor, but I didn't hear it fall off this time, so I thought maybe it's still up here. But I'm not seeing it. Did anybody see it? All right, let me check the floor. Oh, there's one of my favorite scrap strips. I don't see it. It's got to still be up here somewhere, and it probably just got pushed off to the side. But I do have another one up here. I'm going to grab it just because I don't want to leave that open. Okay, so the third thing is clusters with lace and fabric scraps. And these also, there are so many ways to make clusters, guys. Literally just take things and stack them together in coordinating colors. Don't worry about if they absolutely match or if they're the same size. As long as the colors are coordinating, you're going to like it. So there's one in slate blue tones and one in pink and brown tones. And you can, I make these with paper in them, all of lace and fabric. You know, we did some that are all paper. You can do all lace, all fabric, or you can do paper and fabric combined. So, but this is, we're just going to show you quickly how to do these. So what you need for this one is scraps of lace and fabric. So I'm going to grab a handful of scraps of lace and fabric, and I'm going to quickly gather them only by basically color type. Like, you know, that's black and that's black and gray. They can all go right there. Whites, creams, you know, that kind of thing. The fabric over here, there's pink and brown. There's some doily. Just kind of put them by color type so that you can find the color that you need as you're doing it. There's some purple lace and some teal and purple and pink fabric. Tiny fabric scraps, white lace, white linen. Some of these are teeny tiny pieces. Some of them are a little bit larger. The larger ones go on the base and the other ones can go above. That would go good on one of those clusters, just, you know, next to or underneath something peeking out. There's some mint green lace, some pink lace, and a couple of different fabrics. Okay, even some burlap scraps. The other thing that I like to use, well, we'll do that in a minute. Okay, so we're going to choose something to be the base, and you want a larger piece to be the base. I'll grab one of these black pieces of fabric to be the base. And if you have an old sheet, you can take the old sheet, tear it into strips, and then just put little snips down it every few inches, and then just tear it into little pieces and end up with stuff like this. Even a little bit larger than this. This is a fairly small one. but that's perfect. And you have a little stack of just cotton backing and let it fray, pull it out to make it fray if it doesn't on its own. All right, so let's make this one like black and white and gray. So I'm going to take this one and I'm just going to start stacking on it anything that will go. So I don't want to add red because I want this one to be black and white, but I will add some white lace. I don't want them to all face the same way. I don't want them to be all lined up. I'll add a piece of linen in there. I don't even want them to all be the same shape. When I'm cutting them, I don't worry if they're not square. I like some that are triangular or wonky because it gives them, see, there's a piece of sari silk in there just sticking out. Some of them are kind of rectangular. Some are square. But that's what gives them the shape and dimension, is having all the different shapes and sizes. This is kind of just a strip of fiber that's like this, but different colors. So, everything works. Everything works. Let's see, that one's sticking out. Okay, so there's black and white. Let's get a couple of them going. Let's do another black one over here next to it. And I will also add white to that one. Sometimes I even need to put two. Which side is the top? Which side's the top? I can't hardly tell. Sometimes I even have to put two pieces. Maybe one is really small or doesn't stick out as much as I would like it. Goes out there, but it doesn't really go out over here. So I'm going to put a second one that will give a little bit of lace sticking out there. Okay. And then this one, I think I'm going to add a little bit of pink. I'll put a piece of pink lace, and I'll put a piece of this black and pink fabric. It's kind of a black background with pink on the fabric. Needs something in between it, like something cream colored. Too much lace. Let's get something that's solid, but not quite so large. So this is why it's good to have small pieces and large pieces, because sometimes you need something larger. Sometimes you need something small just to break it up. Okay, and I'll hang on to that for a minute. All right, so now over here we're going to do this. It's black coming out here. We're going to do some more white right there. And then this is a black and white plaid shirt. This is what I do with old shirts. I put them on a ring just like I do my fibers. And I cut down the front of the old shirt and I cut off the button panel. So there was the collar. I just cut the button panel off. This one was cool buttons. I might take the button off and use it by itself. But until I do, it's great to keep it like this. Oh man, I just totally destroyed that one. Because I might want, let's see, this one's got a little bit larger button on it, but that's blue, not black. This one, is that the same? Looks black. Okay, so I'm going to find a pink button, I think, maybe to go on that. Maybe black and pink. This one, I've redone this 3 times at least because I think I need 2 of these because I want that coming out to see that color. So maybe even going different directions. And then not the red, that on top of it. And then if I take this little piece that I've cut off of a button front and let's see if it'll tear being this small. Sometimes there's not much to grab onto, but that works. And then I want to fray it, give it a good fray. Then I don't have to sew the button on because the button's already sewn onto the piece of fabric. So it saves me a step. So I love those button fronts or button strips off the shirts. Okay, and then that goes right there. So this one I can literally glue. And I'm just going to do this. I'm going to use Fabri-Tac. And I'm going to go in here. And I'm going to put some glue around on that. I'm going to go to the other side. You know, if it takes you a bit to get it exactly where you like it. But the thing about these is just don't think about them too much. The more you think about them, the more you're trying to make them into something specific. And the beauty of them is just that they're so natural. It's like flowers. You know, a petal might go this way, a petal might go that way. They're a little bit wonky, but each one is beautiful. And that's kind of the beauty of these clusters. Okay. So I've got some good in that side. Need a little bit of glue on this side. Really doesn't take much, and I don't put glue all over the whole thing. You saw that I'm just putting like a gob in there to hold them together, hold the layers together. And the thing is, if you put a gob and you've got lace and even this real thin like linen, it goes right through it to the next one. And by going through it, it's just going to grab several layers and hold them together. Okay, so there's a black and white one. And then this one, I'll go ahead and just glue. No, I'm not even going to glue those down because the only time I glue them down, well, not the only time, sometimes if I'm in a hurry. But if the button is already sewn on here, now it looks like the button is sewn into the cluster, I will just glue it down. If it's not, then I'm going to sew the button on. And I only do that with one stitch. And there's a couple different ways to do that. I'll show you my favorite trick for that. I think this needs, ideally, if I could find a big black button with put a small pink button inside it. This is not the time to go button hunting. But is there a black button that doesn't go inside? So if you use a really strong thread, you can, a bookbinding thread, you could probably just go through it once. I'm sure you can go through it once and it'll be just fine. You really don't need, let's see if that'll kind of works. It's not exactly what I wanted. I really wanted something black, not brown. See, exactly that came out just like that. That's exactly what I want. Let's see if this pink one will fit into it. It's too big, but there might be another. All right, one more look. Is that the same size? One more look, then we're done. Okay, that'll work. I'm going to use that. All right, and let's see. That has, it's a little more complicated, a little more awkward because there's button on top of button, and normally you only have one button. Sure would be easier to show you if there was only one, but
There's a lot of butts going on there.
There is a lot of butts going on here. I got my butt pants on. What is that? Too big, but whoa, that would be cool on a cluster. A big bowl-like button. All right, let's just do this. I'll show you how to do it with two. All right, so if I'm going to sew it and I don't have bookbinding thread, this is a little bit stronger, but if I'm even just using regular thread, I will take it and thread my needle, pull a little bit out, and I'm going to leave this end really long. So when I hold it here, I've got both of them together. And then I'm going to put this button where I want it, the first button, and I'm going to poke it here just to see on the back where it is, about where it is, where I see it come out there. Then I know I'm going to turn around and come right back up that area, and I should be close to a hole. There we are. So I'm on the hole. All right. And then before I come through it, I'm going to put the second button on top of it. This one has 4 holes. This one has 2, which means that they are going to go crosswise, diagonally. So I'm going to put this through one hole of the second button and bring it all the way through. It's still attached to my spool. So when I say all the way through, just so I can work with it, but I still have the attached there, and I still have the tail right here. Okay. I want to keep it double like that. And then I'm going to go through the button, top button, and I'm going to go through the diagonal hole from where I came up of that one. And I know when I get all the way through, then it's going to sit right. There we go. See that? How easy that is. All right. Then I'm going to flip it over. I've got a lot of extra here.
Cake tin. She said you need a fruitcake tin. It's easier to find buttons in it.
Oh, yeah. To spread them out. I know. It just takes up so much space on my shelf because I don't have very much shelf space there. But yeah, I should just dump them into something. Okay. And then I just pulled that through to make this end shorter so I don't waste as much thread. I only went through it once, but the thread was doubled. So I've essentially gone through it twice. Instead of going up and down and then up and down, I just doubled the thread and went up and down once. And then I'm going to tie it up, leaving the needle on it. Just makes it easier. Twice is a good knot, so I always do it a third time. I don't want it coming undone because I'm not gluing anything. Okay? Third time, I just tied it 3 times and go in and clip that off. I don't worry about tails there because it's going to end up glued down anyway. And then whatever little bit of thread is left on here, I can toss, and then I just grab it and thread it all ready to go for the next one. It's a fairly large needle, but you need to make sure that it's a small enough eye to go through small buttons. And this just went through this small button just fine. So then I'll just stick it in there and keep those together. Okay, so here is a double button that is sewn on. Nothing is glued. It's not going anywhere because it is sewn. 1 stitch. 1 stitch, but sewn twice. Stitch once, sew twice. And then this one is glued because it already looked like it was sewn on because it's sewn on to the top layer only. And these, I'm going to glue these down so it won't matter. So if you already know what you want to use them with, then you can be, doing them purposely for that. If you don't, then you might want to keep them of a size that is small enough to still use in most every place. I'm trying to grab. So let's say I wanted to use in a journal a piece of lace. This is small enough that it could still go on that piece of lace as a cluster. And they all have cream and or white in it. And yes, I mix them both, the cream and the white, because they look great together. And it just allows that when you go to use them, it doesn't matter whether you're using them with white on white paper, white lace, cream paper, cream lace, black, brown, pink, whatever it is, they're going to match. If you want more rustic looking one, use burlap as your base. These are pretty small scraps of burlap, so I won't use them as a base, but I'll put them somewhere in the middle because they are small. And let's see. Here's some edge of lace, like where it was actually hemmed, but I just cut that up because that can add to a cluster and add a little dark depth of color.
How do I lose my glue?
Would you? I only lost the pin, the pin that sticks in it. You lost your whole glue.
My little brown
Uh-oh.
thing roll on the floor. Jesus.
Uh-oh. We're on the hunt for glue. So
it's just kind of, I'm telling you.
I know. It's that Monday.
Yeah, it's that kind of Monday for me.
You know what? I have never made a nice bright turquoise one. I'm going to do that because this, I think, would go with it nicely. Just cut a wonky piece there. We're going to use that. We're going to use this. Yeah, that one will go real pretty. Okay, so we need some white or some cream in between, some white lace. Some of these scraps that I have are cut pretty small because I think the last time I used them, I was making real small clusters, because you can make teeny tiny ones that go in tiny books, where this is the base and it only gets smaller from there. They don't have to be big. Didn't find it?
Yeah, I found it.
Oh, good.
It's on the floor.
Of course.
It's rolled under my chair.
Okay, that one and that one, and yeah. I almost always find things that I can't find on the floor.
Yeah.
Let that defray a little bit more.
Just under my chair.
Yeah. Oh, and it's under my chair, then I can't see it.
Yeah.
That's the hardest. That's the worst. Okay, if I was sitting here making clusters and I cut this off, this is a perfect little thing to put on one of these underneath another piece of paper, and it sticks out with just this little frayed edge. It looks like a little frill sticking out. Super cute. So, you know, if I'm not making them right now, I'm not going to keep it. I'm throwing it away. But if I was making those right now, then it's very usable. Very cute. Okay, so I've got some nice teal in there with those colors. Wow, the mint teal even in there. I don't want to add the mint with the teal, though. That just doesn't work for me. So let's see what else will work. Maybe that. And then we need a button. Let's see what kind of... I could always put a tiny little piece of this right in the center and then put the button on top of that. So if I don't have a teal button, that would tie it all together, and then maybe use a black button or a pearl button. I don't like sewing those on as well. They don't lay as flat and look quite the same with the shank. Okay. This must not be the jar that all the black buttons are in. Year 2000, Paris. I have several jars, different sizes, you know, little ones. And I thought, oh, this has a good variety. I'll grab this one.
No.
Nope. No black. All the other colors. That does look kind of cool. That really kind of looks like a record. Kind of weird. Thought I saw, oh, that would be cool. Hey, I thought I saw a teal button, then I realized it was my fingernail. This heart button would be pretty in the center of something. Oh, that one might be. No, that would be pretty in a black and white one. The slate gray, smoky colored. Yeah, that was kind of funny. I'm like, oh, that was pretty. That would go. Here's one. Let's see what that is. There's a fabric button. Kind of teal and black. Oh, there's one. Look at that. Oh, that's a bead. Okay, see, that's a whole nother way to make clusters. Making clusters with beads and charms and pins.
It's 3 o'clock.
Oh, it's time. That might be cute. Maybe I'll just sew that right on there and let that be the center instead of a button. Kind of like that. Either that or that. All right, guys, let's catch the last of the chat here. Oh, Glynis is back.
Hey, Glynis.
Oh, Sylvia has to go take the phone call. That was a while ago, I know, but we understand, Sylvia. I understand. Sitting with feet up. That's good. That's good. You need to do that, especially when you don't feel well. Yes, Julie, start with the basic, and then later, when you're putting it in a specific book, if you want to add something to it to tie it in more, then do it. Mischief, nah. Yeah, Glennis, you'll have to rewatch. We did 3 things, actually. Let me check and see. What?
I said you did 3 things.
Oh, well, you were ahead of me, didn't you?
Oh, no. I've got 2 things done.
You get stuck somewhere.
Right there. And I'm just, everything's sticking. Oh, it's just horrible.
And Julie, you don't really need fabric scraps. They can be all lace scraps. These are all different pieces of lace. If you have, Julie, do you ever cover any of your journals in fabric? That would be, okay, here's Julie's. Perfect, Julie. That's exactly it. One little embellishment and then a word. She's got joy, discover, explore, and dreams. It's perfect. Love the ladybugs. Those are so cute. See, Julie? I love it. Yeah, I have to say, this was an accomplishment for Julie. She didn't think ahead. She didn't watch it and then go sit down and figure it out and organize it. She just did it along with us. Julie, how does it feel? I want to know if you feel good about that, because they look fantastic, Julie. They really do look fantastic. And if we can get you, letting go of some of that, have to, not able to do things on the spot, we tricked you into junk journaling. You can do this too. Another time you might glue them down. This is the last thing I'll say, and then let's go here, is if the button already has thread in it. If it's already got thread and I don't need to add thread, then I might just glue them all together and not bother with stitching them. Otherwise, I'm just going to stitch them. And I think I might stitch no, that's going to stick way up in a book and make it really hard to use. Okay. So Julie feels great. I'm so glad. Afraid not. Margie's afraid not. I love it. A bunch of big pieces in a tote from when he used to make quilts and clothes. Oh yeah. Buried the closet somewhere.
Case.
Oh, Julie also did the paper clusters. Let's see, get that glare off there. Perfect. Perfect, Julie. See? Now you've got ephemera ready to go. I'm looking at them close. I zoomed in there. Ephemera ready to go for books. Perfect. Okay, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Oh, a couple of things. Don't forget to come back and to watch any other videos and comment and leave your hashtag 1,000 subs. Okay, because we're getting close to 1,000 subs, and we're going to give away this great big box of crafty goodies. And don't miss Thursday. You will not want to miss Thursday, this coming Thursday. Big news coming on Thursday. So don't miss Thursday. Can I say that again? Don't miss Thursday. Thursday at 2 o'clock Mountain Time. So that is 1, 2, 3, and 4 o'clock, depending on your time zone. Don't miss Thursday. We'll see you in the group. Thanks for spending your Monday afternoon with us. We love y'all, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.